Our topic है work for energy. So we will start with the work. Now you know students that in physics the work is said to be done by force when it produces a displacement in the body in its own direction. And we know that the work is given by the equation work is equal to F dot S. Now because it is a dot product, so it must be a scalar quantity. So work is scalar. That means it doesn't have any direction. And when I expand this, I get work done is equal to Fs cos theta. Now depending on the value of theta, if it is less than 90 degree, then this work will come out to be positive, and if it is more than 90 degree, then the work done is negative. So that means we can have positive work or negative work depending on the angle between the force and displacement. And one more thing we should remember, that this formula is applicable when the force throughout the displacement remains constant. And if suppose the force is not constant, it is a variable force which is given as a function of position. मतलब अगर force position के साथ change कर रहा है, then in that case we have to use integration. So if force is a function of position, S is position, then work is given by integration of F dot ds from S1 to S2. And students, integration means area under the graph. So I can say that work is given by area under force displacement graph. So this means depending on these formulas, we can have three types of questions. One based off constant force, where I can apply this formula directly. The second type of question may be of a variable force, which is calculated using integration. And third type of question can be the question based on graphs. So I can find out area under force displacement graph and I will get the work done. Let us quickly take an example of positive work, negative work or zero work. Let us say in a lift we have a body which is hanging from a string and the lift is going upward with or without acceleration. Now there are two forces acting on the body. One is tension and the other is its weight. We are not considering the pseudo forces because the acceleration of the lift is not given. So it may be in uniform motion or in non-uniform motion. So we are not considering the pseudo force. So if I find the work done by the tension, now because the lift is going up, so the displacement is upward. And if suppose I find the work done by the tension, then the angle between the tension and the displacement is 0 degree. And if I put here 0, then work done will be positive. And if you find the work done by the gravity, then the angle between the gravity and displacement is 180 degree. So if I put here 180 degree, then cos 180 is negative. So work done by gravity will be negative. So in this particular case, work done by tension is positive, whereas the work done by gravity is negative. If suppose the angle between the force and displacement is 90 degree, then in that case the work done will be 0. For example, if suppose a body is moving on a horizontal surface, then in this case the work done by gravity will be 0 because the angle between the gravity and displacement is 90 degree. And also if you find the work done by the normal reaction from the ground, it will also be 0 because its angle is also 90 degree. Another important example of zero work done is the work done by the centripetal force during circular motion. Now when a body is in circular motion, its instantaneous displacement is given by the tangent, whereas its centripetal force is given along the radius towards the center. Now the angle between the centripetal force and displacement is 90 degree. Therefore the work done by this force will be 0. तो स्टूडेंट्स अब हमारे पास तीन टाइप के क्वेश्चंस हो गए. पहला क्वेश्चन जो कि कांस्टेंट फोर्स पे डिपेंड करेगा, जिसमें कि हम ये डायरेक्टली अप्लाई करेंगे. दूसरा क्वेश्चन जो कि वेरिएबल फोर्स पे डिपेंड करता है, जिसमें हम इंटीग्रेशन का मेथड लगाएंगे. और तीसरा क्वेश्चन वर्क डन कैलकुलेटेड फ्रॉम द ग्राफ. नाउ लेट अस टेक अ क्वेश्चन. इफ सपोज द क्वेश्चन इज दैट फाइंड द वर्क डन बाय अ फोर्स गिवन बाय F equal to 10I plus 2 Yj Newton, and under the action of this force the body is displaced from 0, 0 to 1, 2. If suppose this is the question that we have to find the work done of this force. Now you can see इस क्वेश्चन में इस फोर्स के दो कंपोनेंट है, एक एक्स एक्सिस में एक वाई एक्सिस में. जो एक्स एक्सिस वाला फोर्स है वो कांस्टेंट है, जबकि जो वाई वाला फोर्स है वो वेरिएबल है. तो इस केस में हम दोनों फोर्सेस का इंडिविजुअली वर्क निकालेंगे और फिर दोनों को ऐड कर देंगे टू गेट द टोटल वर्क डन ऑन द बॉडी. नाउ बिकॉज द एक्स कंपोनेंट इज कांस्टेंट, सो आई कैन डायरेक्टली अप्लाई एफ cos theta, whereas the y component is a variable force, so I will integrate it. So let us find the work done due to fx. Fx means the x component. So here fx is 10 and fy is 2y. Now work done due to fx will be f into delta x into cos theta. F is 10, delta x is x2 minus x1. Now final x coordinate is 1 and initial x coordinate is 0. So 1 minus 0 and cos 0, because the force is acting along positive x-axis, and if you see the body is also displaced along positive x-axis because its x coordinate is increasing. So along x-axis it has a displacement towards positive x-axis. So that is why the force is towards positive x-axis, whereas displacement along x-axis is also towards positive x-axis. So their mutual angle is 0 and cos 0 is 1. So this becomes 10 joule. This is the work done by the x component. And now the work done by the y component. Here I have to use integration. So this work will be integration of the force, which is 2y into dy from initial y coordinate to final y coordinate. What is initial y coordinate? 0. What is final y coordinate? 2. And now if you integrate this, you get 2 should be taken out of integration, so it is y dy from 0 to 2, and that becomes 2 y square by 2 from 0 to 2, and this 2 is cancelled. Now in place of y substitute 2, so it becomes 2 square 4 minus 0, so it becomes 4 joule. Now the work done by the x component is 10 joule and the work done by the y component is 4 joule. Now you add these two and we get the total work done on the body. So total work done will be 10 plus 4, it becomes 14 joule. So this is our final answer in this case. Now students, I have another important question for you. The question is that find the work done by a force F equal to yi plus xj Newton when the body moves from 1, 2 to 3, 4. तो फिर से क्योंकि एक वेरिएबल फोर्स है तो हम लोग इंटीग्रेशन का मेथड यूज करेंगे. तो आई विल कैलकुलेट द वर्क डन बाय दिस टू फोर्सेस इंडिविजुअली एंड देन आई विल ऐड ऑल. सो द टोटल वर्क डन आई कैन राइट एज इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ fx dx plus integration of fy dy. Now fx is y, so it is y dx plus fy is x, so it is x dy, and if I combine these two I can get it is integration of y dx plus x dy. It is integration of actually dxy, क्योंकि जब आप इसको एक्सपेंड करोगे तो प्रोडक्ट रूल से ये वापस इसी में कन्वर्ट हो जाएगा, दैट इज x इंटू डी वाई प्लस वाई इंटू डी एक्स. नाउ इसको हम लिख सकते हैं एक्स वाई एंड नाउ वी कैन पुट द लिमिट्स. इट इज 1, 2 to 3, 4. So 1, 2 to 3, 4. So this becomes in place of x put 3, in place of y put 4, in place of x put 1, and then in place of y put 2. So this becomes 12 minus 2, that is 10 joule. Now students, let us consider one more question based on graph. It's a simple question that find the work done by a force which varies according to the graph shown with respect to x. Now this is the force and position graph, and this graph is like this. Now we have to find the work done. Now we know that work is also given by area under the force displacement graph. So just we have to find the area of this graph, and it is a trapezium. So the area of trapezium is half into sum of the parallel sides into height. So let us apply that. So work done is equal to area, and that area is half into sum of the parallel side. One side is this, the other side is this. Now this side is 10, whereas this side is 10 minus 5, it is 5. So it is 10 plus 5 into the height or the distance between the two parallel sides. It is given on this axis, it is 10. So this becomes 15 into 5, so that is 75 joule. Now students, let us talk about the work energy theorem now. According to this theorem, the total work done by all the forces acting on a body is equal to its change in kinetic energy. When we say all the forces, so this means that work done by the internal forces, external forces, conservative and non-conservative, means all types of forces we should consider. We find the work done by all the forces and then we add all to get the total work done on a body, and that is equal to change in kinetic energy. So I can write work energy theorem in this way, that the total work done by all the forces is equal to change in kinetic energy of the body. Now from here you can see that if the total work done by all the forces is positive, then the change in kinetic energy is also positive. This means the kinetic energy of the body will increase. Whereas if the total work done is negative, the change in kinetic energy is negative, and therefore the kinetic energy of the body will decrease. स्टूडेंट्स, अब हमारे पास वर्क डन कैलकुलेट करने के दो तरीके हैं. पहला, इन इक्वेशंस की हेल्प से हम निकाल सकते हैं, लेकिन इसके लिए हमारे को फोर्स की जरूरत पड़ेगी. अब इफ सपोज क्वेश्चन में फोर्स नहीं दिया हुआ, लेकिन हमारे को थोड़ी इंफॉर्मेशन मिलती है या तो काइनेटिक एनर्जी के बारे में या वेलोसिटी के बारे में, तो उस केस में हम वर्क एनर्जी थ्योरम लगा के भी वर्क कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं. लेट अस टेक एन एग्जांपल ऑफ दिस. फॉर एग्जांपल दिस क्वेश्चन, द वेलोसिटी ऑफ ए बॉडी ऑफ मास 2 kg इज गिवन एज v equal to 2x meter per second. If its velocity at x equal to 0 is 0, find total work done by all the forces acting on it up to x equal to 2 meter. So इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर हम कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं यूजिंग वर्क एनर्जी थ्योरम, दैट वर्क डन इज इक्वल टू चेंज इन काइनेटिक एनर्जी. क्योंकि इस क्वेश्चन में कहीं पे भी फोर्स के बारे में कोई जिक्र नहीं किया, तो इस क्वेश्चन के सॉल्यूशन में हम पहले इनिशियल काइनेटिक एनर्जी निकाल लेते हैं, दैट इज हाफ m v square. So it is half into mass. Mass is given as 2 kg, and the initial velocity at x equal to 0 is 0. So this is 0, and the final kinetic energy is again half mv square. Now here half, mass is 2, and final velocity is given by the equation 2x. So I can substitute here. So it is 2x square, and I know the value of x is 2 meters, so I can substitute here. This 2 and 2 is cancelled, so it is 2 into x is given as 2 by square, so it becomes 16. And now I can apply work energy theorem. So I get the net work done is equal to final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy, that is 16 minus 0, so it is 16 joule. So you have seen that we have got the work done without knowing the force. Now students, let us take one more question based on work energy theorem, that a body is dropped under gravity from rest from a height of 5 meter. It reaches ground with 8 meter per second. Find work done by the air friction, and given the mass of the body is 2 kg. Now in this case we have to find the work done by the air friction, but its value or its equation is not given to us. So here we can apply work energy theorem. So what are the forces acting on the body? One is gravitational force mg, the other is the air friction, I can say it is Fa, and according to work energy theorem, the work done by the air friction plus the work done by gravity is equal to the change in kinetic energy, which is half mv square minus half m u square. Now work done by the air friction is required. The work done by gravity is mgh, and this is half mv square minus half m u square. Now I will put the values here, and we get the work done by the air friction. So this is work done by air friction plus the mass of the body is 2, g is 10, and h is given as 5, and this is equal to half, mass is 2, and the final velocity of the body is given as 8. So 8 square is 64 minus initial it is 0 because the body is dropped from rest. Now I get work done by air resistance plus this becomes 100 and on this side it becomes 64. So the work done by the air friction is minus 36 joule. So this is our final answer. स्टूडेंट्स मैं अब आपको जल्दी से कंजर्वेटिव और नॉन कंजर्वेटिव फोर्सेस की प्रॉपर्टीज याद दिला देता हूँ. तो पहले हम बात करते हैं कंजर्वेटिव फोर्सेस की. ये वो फोर्सेस हैं जिनका वर्क डन पाथ पे डिपेंड नहीं करता बट दे डिपेंड्स ओनली ऑन द इनिशियल एंड फाइनल पोजीशंस. जिनके एग्जांपल हैं इलेक्ट्रोस्टैटिक फोर्स, ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स, टेंशन इन द स्ट्रिंग एंड टेंशन इन द स्प्रिंग. इन फोर्सेस की एक खास बात है दैट द नेट वर्क डन बाय द फोर्स ओवर ए क्लोज पाथ इज ऑलवेज जीरो, जिसको हम इस तरीके से लिख सकते हैं द इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ F dot dl over a closed path is 0. सेकेंड पॉइंट इसमें याद रखने वाला ये है that whenever work is done by a conservative force, it decreases the potential energy of the system. For example, if suppose the work is done by gravity, then the body comes down and therefore the potential energy of the body decreases. तो हम इसको ऐसे लिख सकते हैं that work done by a conservative force is equal to minus of delta U. This delta U stands for the change in potential energy. So for a small work done, I can write this as dW is equal to minus du, and dW can be written as F dot dl or ds, and so I get F is equal to minus du by dl. This thing shows that the conservative force is the rate of change of potential energy. The negative sign indicates that in the direction of the conservative force, the potential energy always decreases. Using this formula, I can write now Fx, Fy and Fz, the three component of the conservative forces, as minus del u by del x, minus del u by del y and minus del u by del z. Now this shows the partial differentiation of the potential energy with respect to x, y and z coordinate. So if all the three components of forces are present, then the net force acting on the body can be written as Fxi plus Fyj plus Fzk, and the magnitude of this force will be F is equal to under root of Fx square plus Fy square plus Fz square. This means if you know the function of the potential energy or the relation of the potential energy with respect to position, you can find the value of the conservative force acting on the bodies. Now let us take this question, students, that the potential energy of a body is given as U equal to 10x square y plus 20y square z. Find force acting on the body at a point of coordinates 1, 1, 1. Now the answer of this question we can find using this partial differentiation. Now I have to partially differentiate this function with respect to x, y and z separately. You know how to do partial differentiation? So let me tell you one thing, that when you partially differentiate this with respect to x, you should take y and z as a constant. When you partially differentiate it with respect to y, then you take x and z as constant, and when you differentiate it with respect to z, then you take x and y as constant. So let us apply this. So Fx is equal to minus del u by del x. This means it is minus. Now differentiation of this with respect to x, taking y and z as constant, so this will be 10x square. So the differentiation of x square is 2x. Y is a constant term, so it will be written as it is. Here y and z both are constant. This means this total quantity is constant, so its differentiation is 0. So I get Fx is equal to minus 20xy, and x, y, z are given as 1, 1, 1. So I will put them. So I get minus 21 into 1. So that is minus 20 Newton. Similarly, I can find Fy minus del u by del y. Now when I differentiate it with respect to y, I will take x as constant. So I will put 10x square as it is. The differentiation of y with respect to y is 1, and here z is a constant term, so plus 20z, and differentiation of y square is 2y. Now when I put here 1, 1, 1, so I get 10 into 1, that is 10, and all these quantities are 1. This is 40, so 40 plus 10 is 50, so minus 50 Newton. and similarly when I get fz, it is minus del u by del z. Now I will take x and y as constant, so this whole first term will become constant, so its differentiation is 0, and this becomes plus 20, because y square is a constant term, so it should be written as it is, and the differentiation of z with respect to z will be 1. So now I will put 1 comma 1 comma 1, and this will become 20, so it is minus 20 Newton. And so the total force acting on the body is under root of fx square plus fy square plus fz square, and that becomes under root of minus 20 square plus minus 50 square plus minus 20 square. So this quantity is found to be under root of 3300, and that can be written as 10 root 33 Newton. So this is our final answer. तो स्टूडेंट्स, क्योंकि ये कॉन्सेप्ट फोर्स से जुड़ा है, तो हम यहाँ पे एक और टाइप का क्वेश्चन बना सकते हैं, और वो है इक्विलिब्रियम का क्वेश्चन. यू नो व्हाट इज द पोजीशन ऑफ इक्विलिब्रियम? A body is said to be in equilibrium when the force acting on the body is 0. Now let us say if the potential energy is a function of a single coordinate, like along x-axis the potential energy is changing, so I can say that potential energy is a function of x. So in that case the conservative force acting on the body can be written as minus du by dx. Now in case of equilibrium the force acting on the body is 0, so if I substitute 0 here in place of force, so I get minus du by dx is equal to 0, or du by dx is equal to 0. Now according to calculus, if the first differentiation of any quantity is 0, this means that either u should be maximum or it should be minimum, and there can be another case when u is constant, because the differentiation of constant is also 0. Hence I can say that there are three types of equilibrium. In the first case, when the force is 0 and the potential energy is maximum, it is unstable equilibrium of a body. Whereas when the force is 0 and the potential energy is minimum, it is called stable equilibrium. And in the third case, when the force is 0 and the potential energy is constant, it is known as neutral equilibrium. So this means if the potential energy function is given to you, you can find the position of equilibrium of a body. And this is our next question. The question is that if potential energy of a body is u equal to ax square minus bx, where a and b are constants, find the position of equilibrium and its type. Now students, we know that force is equal to minus du by dx, and if I differentiate this, I get a 2x minus b. And because the position of equilibrium is that where the force acting is 0, so I put f equal to 0, so f is equal to 2ax minus b, or 2ax is equal to b, so x is equal to b by 2a. So this is the position of equilibrium of the body in this potential energy field. To find the type of equilibrium, now we will find the second derivative of potential energy, and if it is negative, then potential energy must be maximum, or if it is positive, then potential energy must be minimum. So let us find the second derivative. So because the potential energy is given as ax square minus bx, where a and b are constants, so the first differentiation du by dx is equal to 2ax minus b, and the second derivative will come out to be 2a. Now because this second derivative is positive, so this means that the potential energy is minimum at this particular position, and so it must be a stable equilibrium. स्टूडेंट, इस सारे डिस्कशन से पता चलता है कि सिर्फ कंजर्वेटिव फील्ड्स में ही पोटेंशियल एनर्जी का कॉन्सेप्ट बनता है, इसीलिए कंजर्वेटिव फील्ड्स को पोटेंशियल फील्ड भी कहते हैं, जबकि जो नॉन कंजर्वेटिव फील्ड्स हैं या नॉन कंजर्वेटिव फोर्सेज हैं उनको हम नॉन पोटेंशियल फील्ड्स बोलते हैं, बिकॉज द पोटेंशियल एनर्जी एसोसिएटेड विद नॉन कंजर्वेटिव फोर्सेज इज नॉट डिफाइंड, तो वहाँ पे कोई पोटेंशियल एनर्जी का कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं बनता. नाउ नॉन कंजर्वेटिव फोर्सेज वो हैं जिनका वर्क पाथ पे डिपेंड करता है, फॉर एग्जांपल फ्रिक्शन फोर्स और विस्कस फोर्स, एयर रेजिस्टेंस, these all are the examples of the non conservative forces in mechanics. ये वो फील्ड्स हैं जिनका वर्क डन क्लोज्ड पाथ पे जीरो भी हो सकता है और नहीं भी हो सकता, जबकि कंजर्वेटिव फील्ड्स का वर्क डन क्लोज्ड पाथ पे हमेशा जीरो होता है. इसीलिए जब हम वर्क डन निकालते हैं नॉन कंजर्वेटिव फोर्सेस का, तो हम वहाँ पे डिस्टेंस की बात करते हैं कि हाउ मच लेंथ ऑफ पाथ द बॉडी हैज कवर्ड इन दैट नॉन कंजर्वेटिव फील्ड. For example, if suppose a body moves over a closed path in a conservative field, then the work done by the conservative forces should be 0. Whereas if suppose a body is moving on a rough horizontal surface over a circular path, that means again another closed path, but the work done by the friction will not be 0 in this case. So this means that work done by a non-conservative force over a closed path may be 0 or may not be 0, but for a conservative force it must be 0. स्टूडेंट अब हम बात करते हैं कंजर्वेशन ऑफ मैकेनिकल एनर्जी की. यू नो व्हाट इज मैकेनिकल एनर्जी ऑफ ए सिस्टम? इट इज द सम ऑफ द काइनेटिक एनर्जी एंड पोटेंशियल एनर्जी, बट इट रिमेन्स कांस्टेंट ओनली इन द एब्सेंस ऑफ फ्रिक्शन. That means in the absence of non-conservative forces. So that means I can say that where the work energy theorem is applicable in all the cases, the mechanical energy conservation is possible only in case of conservative forces. But if suppose there are some non-conservative forces like friction in the system, then you cannot conserve the mechanical energy. Now students, consider this question that a body is released from rest from a height of 5 meter on the ground. If the body reaches the ground with 6 meter per second, then choose the correct option. Now the first option is the mechanical energy of the body is conserved during its fall. Second option is the net work done on the body is positive. The third option is the net work done on the body is 0. And fourth option is the mechanical energy of the body is not constant during its fall. Now how to deal with this type of question? So first of all, let us find whether the mechanical energy is conserved or not. So if you consider that a body is allowed to fall through a certain height on the ground, it must reach with a velocity under root of 2gh. Now h is given in the question as 5 meter. So when I substitute here, it is 2 into 10 into 5, so it becomes 10 meter per second. So the body should reach the ground with a speed of 10 meter per second, जबकि क्वेश्चन में दिया हुआ है कि it is reaching with a speed of 6 meter per second. So ये चीज ये शो कर रही है कि there must be some loss in kinetic energy. Now who is producing this loss? So it must be the air resistance, and that is a non-conservative force. And then in the presence of a non-conservative force, the mechanical energy should not be conserved. So the first option, that the mechanical energy of the body is conserved during its fall, this becomes wrong. Whereas the fourth option becomes right, which says that the mechanical energy of the body is not constant during its fall. So this is correct. Now let us talk about the work done. If the net work done on the body is 0, its kinetic energy must remain constant. Whereas if the net work done is positive, its kinetic energy should increase. Now in this question, the initial velocity of the body is 0, so its initial kinetic energy is 0. But when it reaches the ground, it has a certain speed of 6 meter per second. So this means during the fall, its kinetic energy is increasing. So the net work done on the body should be positive. So the second option, the work done on the body is positive. This is correct. Whereas the net work done on the body is 0. This is incorrect. B and D option are correct. Now students, let us talk about power. Power is basically the rate at which work is done. Normally ये term machines के लिए यूज की जाती है. If a machine is doing more work in a small time, it is said to be more powerful. Now depending on the time frame, you can find two types of power for a machine. One is known as the average power and the other is called the instantaneous power. But the basic formula of the power is work upon time. So I can say that average power is basically total work done delta W divided by delta T, where delta T is a finite time. Whereas the instantaneous power I can write as dW by dt, where dt is a infinitesimally small time. So the instantaneous power I can further write as this dW is written as F dot dl and divided by dt. So this becomes F dot v. So instantaneous power can also be written as F dot v, because instantaneous power is the dot product of the force and velocity. So if the force is perpendicular to velocity, so the instantaneous power supplied by the force will be 0. And the example of this is the centripetal force. When a body moves in a circle, its velocity is tangential to the circle, whereas the centripetal force is towards the center of the circle along the radius. So the angle between the force and velocity is 90 degree, and therefore the instantaneous power supplied by the centripetal force is always 0. Now students, let us consider this question, that a projectile is projected with 10 meter per second at an angle of 37 degree from the ground. find the instantaneous power of gravitational force after 1 second of projection. Now because instantaneous power is needed, so after 1 second I required the dot product of the force and its velocity. Now what is force after 1 second? So my dear students, on a projectile the force always remains same, and that is mg. So I can say that the value of the force is mg, and I will put minus j because it is along the negative y direction. So the mass is given as 2 kg, gravity is 10 and minus j, so this becomes minus 20 j. Now secondly I have to find the instantaneous velocity of the projectile, and we know the formula of that. The instantaneous velocity is u cos theta I plus u sin theta minus gtj. Now if I substitute the values, I get u 10 cos 37, because angle is given as 37 degree, so cos 37 is 4 by 5 I plus 10, sin 37 is 3 by 5 minus 10 into 1 j, because time is given as 1 second. So I get this is equal to 8 I plus it is 6 minus 10 j. So finally I get velocity vector as 8 I minus 4 j. Now to find the instantaneous power of the gravity, I will take the dot product of force and velocity. So power is F dot V. So this becomes basically minus 20 into minus 4, which is 80 watt. So this is our final answer. Now student, let us consider one more question, that a pump motor is used to deliver water at a certain rate through a given pipe. To obtain n times water from the same pipe in the same time, by what amount should the power of motor be increased? Now student, इस क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व करने के लिए सबसे पहले हम फार्मूला लगाएंगे पावर का, विच इज़ फोर्स इनटू वेलोसिटी, एंड वी विल सी कि अगर हमारे को वाटर की सप्लाई को इंक्रीज करना है n टाइम्स, तो वेलोसिटी और फोर्स कितने टाइम्स बढ़ाना पड़ेगा. तो स्टूडेंट्स यू कैन सी कि dm by dt, that is the rate at which mass is flowing or the mass supplied per second or mass flowing per second through a pipe, is given by a v rho. Now I want to increase this quantity n times as given in the question. So to increase this quantity n times, out of these three quantities which I can increase, can I increase area of the pipe? So no, because area of pipe is fixed. The density of water or the liquid is also fixed. So this means in order to increase the mass supply n times, I should increase the velocity by n times. So I can say that if v dash is the final velocity, then it should be n times the initial velocity. Now let us consider the force. The force is given by v into dm by dt. Now you can see that v is increased n times, so here we multiply this by n, and dm by dt is also to be increased n times because the mass supplied is increased n times. So when velocity is increased by n times, the mass supplied per second is also increased by n times. So this means the force is increased by n square times. So if F dash is the new force, then it must be n square times the initial force. And now we apply the instantaneous power as force into velocity. So because force is increased n square times and velocity is increased n times, so this means power will be multiplied by a factor of n cube. So the new power will be n cube times of the initial power. So if P dash is the new power, then it is n cube of the initial power. So this is our final answer. Now student, let us consider this question, that a car is moving along a straight line by an engine producing constant power. Which of the following may represent graph between its velocity and time? Now इस क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व करने के लिए हमें सबसे पहले एक रिलेशन निकालना पड़ेगा वेलोसिटी और टाइम का, एंड अकॉर्डिंगली वी विल डिसाइड द राइट आंसर. नाउ वी नो दैट फोर्स इनटू वेलोसिटी इज पावर, and this force I can write as m into dv by dt, and this is power. Now I can write this as v dv is equal to p by m dt, and then we integrate it, so we get a relation between velocity and time. Now I can take the limits from 0 to t, and here the initial velocity I assume to be 0 and final velocity is v. Now this will become, on the left hand side, it will become v square by 2. It is p by mt, so v square is equal to 2p by mt. Now this relation is equivalent to the relation y square is equal to some constant quantity into x. Now the graph of this type of equation matches with the C option. Therefore, the relation between velocity and time is correctly represented by the option C. So this is our final answer.